First of all, the title, why is it into the night? Well, into the dark. It's basically because this new unit that I've designed is about video production. And so the first thing is because I was looking for something different. But is also an indication that when we go into a movie theater, we try to be quiet. And we try to relax and enjoy it. Into the dark also has the connotation of a movie. However, in this particular case, into the dark means that this is a new unit. I'm at a new university and I have no idea what's going to happen. I've designed it. The unit starts in T2 2015. So until I get my first student's feedback, I'm really not going to know the outcome of this unit. And so that's basically I'm traveling into the dark. The rationale for this new unit. So when I first arrived at UNE, I basically tried to understand what this town was all about and what was available here and how I could use or what I could do to bring some units on board. So the first thing is that I spoke with a teacher at Duval School who mentioned that his grade 11 and 12 were actually doing video production or multimedia units at grade 11 and 12. So I thought, well, what happens once these students graduate from grade 12 and they come to UNE? Can they continue on their multimedia units? So then I wanted to investigate the Bachelor of Arts and the Mass Media Communication department, and I noticed that you could actually study the politics or the history of filming in Australia, which was very text heavy. However, if you wanted to do a hands-on course in actually video production, they didn't have that unit, or if they do have it, I couldn't find it. So I thought, well, why don't we offer a unit that is actually hands-on for teachers or anybody who wants to come and do it. News 2 weeks ago, Google's has 6 billion viewing hours per month. And that gives you an indication that digital media is transforming or changing the way students and adults are using videos. We're starting to learn more from videos, we're trying to access more videos, and the result shows it. ITU, which is an international organization in telecommunication, they reported that in 2014 there were 6 billion mobile phones. All right, so there are 7 billion people on Earth. That gives you an indication of where things are going. And so because of all this data, I thought, well, could we design a unit that captures all of this that will benefit teachers at UNE. This is the heaviest text part of the whole presentation. But basically it gives you an idea that the focus is video activism and it's for social awareness. Okay? And I will explain these terms as we go along. And it's basically about exploring how we can use digital media to create new information. Friedman has explained that our students and their future kids have actually all of the information and technology and hardware and software that they need in that little phone to actually capture knowledge, to transform it, and then to spit out new content. So I just thought, well, it's a way to investigate it. And then some of the issues that we will look at in this unit is privacy, character consents that are very big elements in movie productions. We're looking at copyright and intellectual property because you can't just take somebody else's idea and then transform it and then say it's yours, obviously. And we will be looking at Creative Commons material. Where can you get access to copyright-free kind of information? So that's the general idea of the unit. So video activism, or activism, what is it? Well, the reason why I have all these photos is because activism has transformed. When we, in the olden days, when we used to think of activism, and I'm using a stereotypical here not to insult anyone, but just to make a point, when we think of activism, we usually think of people that either have no hair or colored hair, and they are usually unemployed, and they go to riots or rallies, and they create chaos. That's the traditional kind of perception that we have. However, I would like to point out that activism has changed. It's now wearing a suit and tie. All right? An activist is a new position in corporations. Corporations are actually recruiting people to actually go and speak to the general public and say, well, look, we're not that bad. Try to understand who we are. All right? And so they're turning the table around. Instead of fighting, join them. And you're creating, you know, Carl Icahn, who basically goes into a company with his $1 billion and say, hey, here's my money, do what I tell you. If you don't, I'll take it back. Okay, so it's a new form of activism. Same with Bill Ackman, who actually I think is not that bad, but different motivation. Activism has also changed. Before it was propaganda or paraphernalia, but now we have books and videos. So we are more exposed to activism. And we don't sort of realize it, but it's actually a new niche for publication and video production. And some of the people who actually made these movies are actually standalone people. They took the camera and decided, I'm going to make a movie about this. Michael Moore is one of them. All right? So activism is changing. And if we don't sort of try to have a discussion about what is activism and how can we use it to our own benefit, then really it's just going to be an area which is going to be untouched. And so that's why I thought, let's look at video activism, because anybody can do it. Anybody can use a video. Go out there and record something that you can see and observe that you think is worth talking about. And social awareness is really about, and this was a strong part of the unit design, is that it really is about educational purposes. I don't want to be training activists that are actually going to point a finger at me and then say, he told us to do that. No, I want somebody who's going to go into the classroom and say, okay, how are we going to look at issues and how are we going to discuss them? All right? And so it's an educational purpose, an educational angle. So to give you an idea,
over a month, it finally grew these wimpy little vines. 1 week for it to sprout. And look at it now. Potato, you ready?
So you get the message. This video is on YouTube. And it has 1.9 million views, 5 of which are mine. Okay? But it gives you an idea. And when we think of this student, she actually took a simple concept, a simple idea. What is it that we are eating? She made a very simple video. She has a simple message. She researched the content. And then she created the video and she thought about how she was going to do it. Now, of course, she has help from somebody. We can tell that much. But she has made that video and she actually uploaded it on YouTube. So this is something that's created at home, something that's easy to do, and then it becomes worldwide accessible. So video activism for social awareness will be offered in trimester 2 in 2015 onwards. As I've explained, I'm not really sure what's going to happen. And it's into the dark, and I have to wait until the students' feedback to see how I can improve it and how it can be done better. But in the meantime, what I've tried to do is basically look at what is this course that this unit that I'm going to be offering, and I try to do some of the literature review. And the first thing that I came across was mass communication. Defleur and Boll-Rockish have, in the first chapter, they have the history of mass communication. And basically they arrive at a point where they say, well, we had TV broadcasting and radio broadcasting, but how now we have this new concept of delivering content online, and it's digital media. So how are we going to deal with this? And new research is emerging. And that's a very interesting area because that seems to be where the shift is going. The second area that I wanted to look at was digital storytelling. And digital storytelling, like mass communication, is a very, very old concept. We've always been storytellers of our own. So digital storytelling is basically using videos, picture, audio, any kind of content that you can use. You put it together, you make a voiceover, and then you have it. You save it as a digital file, and you have a digital storytelling. But the majority of digital storytelling usually only uses photos, photos and not videos, and everything else goes with it. So looking at these two things, then I thought, okay, how I'm going to teach this? And the concept that I decided to use was participatory video, or participatory video production. And participatory video production is basically an easy concept. In the olden days, when somebody made a documentary, he was in charge. I'm the guy, I have the camera, this is my script, I'm going to tell you what to do, and you just go and act it out. Then we have a shift where it was like, well, that doesn't really work out. So how about we collaborate on this video production? And that's sort of semi-structured participatory video where somebody has an issue, they come and see me and they say, look, we want to make a video about this. We have a collaboration, a talk, discussion. Then we make it, and then I go and edit it. And then the final stage, which is what I'm looking at, is where it's like, here's a camera, now you go out there and film what you think is important. What message do you want to deliver? And my role is really just as a sounding board or a guide to say, okay, maybe, you know, if the students can't access information, I can say, well, you could look at it from this angle. But it's really not me directing, it's not me producing, it's not me editing. I'm just saying this might be the areas where you want to look at it. So how does it work? Well, this is how it's basically structured. However, originally what I had is the students do literature review to be informed, then they use the camera and the software, then they make the film and they edit it. But there was a problem with this concept that I didn't know until about 2 months ago when I came across Burnett 2004. And what Burnett 2004 explained is that you need an exploration stage. It's basically divided into 3 blocks of 4 weeks. There are 4 assessment pieces. It's very busy. The 500 words at the top is basically the exploration stage, which is followed by the literature review. Then they do an e-portfolio followed by the production process. This is the hardware area where they have to study the hardware. Then in this area here, they're filming and editing, and in the end, they have a reflection stage where they're thinking about what they have done, what they have achieved. So it looks like a lot of work, but each stage is very important. So hopefully they will still be exploring at this stage because they've done their literature review, they're still exploring their environment, but now they have to start playing with the hardware and software. Because it's fairly easy to use a video camera, but you have to learn angles, lights, audio, sound, how you're going to capture. It comes towards the editing stage and it works in sequence. And it's basically saying, okay, when you were doing your film, this is what you saw, this is what you recorded. Now you're editing. What is it that you see? How is this any different? And are you happy with what you've captured? Because now you have to turn this into a film. I'm trying to design the rubrics. I'm trying to be as clear as possible so that this is very long, and I'm sorry about the size of the font. But it's basically trying to guide the students into what it is that they have to do. But basically they're talking about creative writing, and we have the critical thinking in the writing. The work effectively with video production, well, it will be enough to be able to do a basic film for educational purposes. So this film was created by advanced EFL students that I taught while I was in Japan. The room where the lady was recorded for the interview was actually my office. Basically, video production has been used as an instructional strategy in K-12. So it can be used in primary schools or in kindergarten, but again, certain issues are there and we need to be aware of that. So thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, please ask.